Good evening, councillors. It's 5:30. We will commence the ordinary council meeting on Monday, the 26th of May, 2025. Recording and publishing. In accordance with the Local Government Act of 1993, Cowra Council is recording this meeting and will upload the recording to Council's website. By speaking at this meeting, you agree to being recorded and having that recording published in the public domain. Please ensure that when you speak at Council's meeting, you are respectful to others and use appropriate language at all times. Council accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of this meeting. And again, I would ask councillors if they could speak clearly into their microphones, please. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather, the Wiradjuri people, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. In attendance, apologies and application for leave of absence by councillors, we have Councillor Fagan on leave, Councillor Downing on leave and Councillor Cave on leave. Could I have someone move that they be accepted? Councillor Speechley and Councillor Horton. Thank you, Councillor Speechley. Councillor.
Nothing needed to say, I don't think.
Councillor Horton.
Not necessary, thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. Disclosures of interest. Councillors and staff, please indicate in relation to any interest you need to declare. A, what report or item you are declaring an interest in. B, whether the interest is pecuniary or non-pecuniary. And C, what is the nature of the interests? Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item 3.1 is a minor non-pecuniary interest. The Access Incentive Scheme grant funding application for St Raphael's Catholic School, as I have a child who attends the school and I will leave the chamber. Item 5.3, Section 355, Youth Cowra Council minutes. It's a minor non-pecuniary interest as my son is a youth council member. I will leave the chamber as the minutes contain notes pertaining to my son being nominated for the position of Deputy Chair. Item 5.4 is the Section 355 minutes for the Australian chapter of the World Peace Bell. The minutes advise that they will be contacting Carolines to offer a place on the committee because their previous member who was a Lions Club member has recently passed away. I will remain in the chamber, but I'm leaving because I am a Lions Club member, but I will remain in the chamber. Item 7.2, the DA 14 Short Street. It's a minor non-pecuniary interest. I'll leave the chamber as my child is an employee of KEX. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others? Councillor Horton.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. So item 3.10 for the same reasons as Deputy Mayor Kiss. I have two children at St Raphael's. It's a minor non-pecuniary interest. I'll stay in the chamber. Just for the sake of it, item 5.2, local government remuneration. I feel like it's a pecuniary interest for all of us, but I'm only being facetious. I'll remain in the chamber. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have no presentations, no public forum. Ooh, sorry, Councillor Watt.
Declaration of interest. I thought you just looked at me and knew I had one before. So I'd like to declare a non-pecuniary interest in items 3.7 and 7.1 being the same item due to a family member being involved in the submission and also personally owning a business which leases property adjacent to the site, and I will leave the room.
Right. Okay, no presentations, no public forum. I'll now take a motion to confirm the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on the 28th of April 2025. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Kiss? Councillor Horton?
No, not required. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Anybody else want to comment? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Passed. I'll now take a motion to confirm the minutes of the extraordinary council meeting held on the 12th of May 2025 with the inclusion of Councillor Fagan as an apology. Councillor Kiss. Thank you, Councillor Horton. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Horton.
Not required.
Anybody
Thank you, Mr.
else like to comment? Councillor Kiss. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Passed. Thank you. The General Committee recommendations, item 3.1, the Regional Drought Resilience Plan. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Watt. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very briefly, this regional drought resilience plan covers multiple LGAs as a Central West plan, provides an opportunity to build on our existing planning, learn from environment and planning experts, and identify tangible actions and, importantly, learn from each other. It was funded by the federal government back in May of 2024, and tangible actions that will ultimately, I would expect, become a business as usual baseline. Climate change is here to stay, but this is a solid, workable document that will help us thrive in our changing environment. Thank you.
Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Kiss, for moving the motion. Councillor Kiss has articulated quite clearly why this is important, and many of us around the room know firsthand the challenges faced by our community dependent on agriculture. It's fantastic to be speaking to this while we can hear the rain in the background, and many farmers and farmers' children like me are very happy to have that coming through. I just briefly wanted to add, as one of the representatives to Cowra Tourism, this plan articulates the benefit that tourism can bring to local communities in providing drought resilience, and it's a very significant part for Cowra as well. We know that already in times without drought, tourism visitor spend accounts for around a third of Cowra's economy, and this can often fall when people from outside the region perceive that there is problems in the area like floods or drought or heat, and we had quite an example of it a few years ago when many roads around us were flooded, but actually you could still get to Cowra, and people for months were calling asking if they could get through. So it's really important that we prioritise our communication of this and our promotion of Cowra and its tourism to help provide some buffers to our ever-changing agricultural community.
Anybody else like to comment? Councillor Wright.
I think most of the main things have been said. In a past life, I was involved with the rural financial counselling system that the federal and state government run, both here in Cowra on an individual basis and on a board of the Southern Rural Regional Financial Counselling Service, which is about 20, had 20 rural financial counsellors served. And the difference, the things that come out of that was that governments think that a drought affects farmers, and we had difficulty explaining to them and offering, and being able to, under our charter, to be able to offer advice to businesses in a community that was suffering drought, because the small businesses, even contractors and that, and farm suppliers, as well as the shops in the CBD that rely on local people to buy their goods and services. It was very difficult to be able to offer them a service. It has changed a bit, but this sort of plan is looking at the area on a whole, and what other things we can do to help. And we were told at the time that we can look after the farmers, and then they can go into Centrelink or some other service to look after that, and that got very complicated and involved. And yes, it is a little bit to do with climate change, because the turn of the 1900th century was dry, and then the 50s were wet, and then the 90s and the 2010 was dry, and then it got wet again, and then it got dry again in 17 to 20. So, and the climate does change. It changes every day, and it's a bit like a farm. If you keep putting people on the planet, it's a bit like a farmer keeps putting sheep into his paddock. without making adjustments, you're going to run out of food and so forth, shelter and water, and so we have to make adjustments, because if you're going to play this climate change thing, someone's going to have to be God and say we've got too many people and we can't look after them, and it's a little bit off, a bit of a tangent there, but this plan, and it's with the 3 or 4 other councils, that we should be able to work together to identify problems and how they may be solved. Thank you.
Anybody else like to comment? Right, a reply, Councillor Kiss. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Passed, thank you. 3.2, the draft media and social media policy. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Wright, thank you. Councillor Horton.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. So this is a motion to release these policies out for public feedback for the next 28 days. These policies are really important. The media policy itself is arguably perhaps a bit more mature than the social media policy, and is possibly a bit more manageable, because traditional media is by its nature a bit more manageable. You can set interview times, you can develop notes that you want to talk to, you can draft media releases and so on. Social media by its very nature, of course, is more interactive, and so councillors and staff need to be very conscious not only of what they say or promote on social media, but also what they're associated with, what they might react to, what they might like. And this is not limited to Cowra Council, of course. This is anyone who has any sort of kind of representative role in their employment, for example, needs to be mindful of this. So it's great that the work's been done. I commend the people that have put so much effort and time into it, and it'll be great to see what feedback we get. And we're also wanting to get this draft policy in the hands of Council's Employee Consultative Group and get their comments as well. So great that we're at this stage, and thanks to those that have made the effort. Thank you.
Councillor Wright.
Yeah, no, Councillor Horton covered it all. It's this policy, you could say, is an evolving policy with the way media changes today. The print media is becoming less dominant, but it's also a lot of cut and paste and so forth, and you've got to be careful that it is issued the right way. And the social media is you've just got to be careful. I just hope that if anyone's got any better ideas on what we're trying to do, it'd be good to hear. And it's not just for us councillors, it's for our staff and so forth. And just so they're aware of what their actions could cause if things went wrong. We're not expecting to do things, because you can do them. You can make a mistake without even knowing it on social media. So I'll commend it to the council. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to comment? Councillor Horton, right of reply?
No, not required. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Passed, thank you. 3.3, the Audit Risk and Improvement Committee, appointment of the chairperson. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Watt. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Alan Pickett is presented as a highly qualified, experienced individual, and he's been recommended to us by the selection panel as being the most suited as chairperson for our Audit Risk and Improvement Committee. I commend this appointment to my fellow councillors and look forward, hopefully, to welcoming him onto our committee. Thank you.
Councillor Watt.
No, not needed.
Anybody else like to comment? Councillor Kiss, not required. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. 3.4, investments and financial reports. Councillor Watt, thank you. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. We looked at this report in detail in our council meeting earlier in the month. In our committee meeting, we reported that interest rates on our investments continue to be performing above market rates. as well. The team are continuing to perform well on rate collection, with $55,000 of rates collected in April 2025, and the trend looking like less rates are outstanding than the previous 3 financial years, which is great to see in the current financial market. And the report also marked the end of the River Park Amenities and Bow Street Drainage Loan and the Sale Yards Effluent Screens Loan. Thank you.
Councillor Kiss. Anybody else like to comment? Councillor Watt, right to reply. Put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. Passed. 3.5, the draft plan of management for the Bellevue Hill Crown Reserve, number 84154. Councillor Watt, thank you. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As again, we discussed this a couple of weeks ago. Importantly, the plan of management advice concludes that the adoption of this plan will not affect native title rights in the knowledge currently held by the team. And just like to note for anyone who takes a look at this, that the Colstonson Park amenities have been renewed since this plan was written, but it is unfortunately the nature of these big plans of management that we do. It takes quite a long time to go through the processes of the state government. So everyone can be rest assured that it looks very different now. In the next plan, I'm sure there'll be things just the same.
Councillor Kiss. Anybody else like to comment? Councillor Wright.
Thank you. I congratulate staff for getting this completed. This reserve would be one of the most difficult reserves in the Shire that we have to maintain its integrity as far as the First Nation habitat and so forth, and their connection to the area. It is a large area, and we have 2, 3, 4 very highly used tourism type operations within the area, and but we still have to maintain what else is there going on, and maintain a lot of area that needs careful management, environmental biodiversity management. But we've got to be well aware of the significance to the First Nations, and it's not like a lot of other reserves that we've done here in the Shire, where it's nearly all used as a commercial type operation or a playground and so forth, and they've been built with the proper documentation and so forth of native title input, and but this we have a significant mix of undeveloped and developed area, and it will be an ongoing operation, strategic operation of the reserve to maintain the integrity. Thank you.
Anybody else like to comment? Councillor Watt, right of reply.
Just very briefly to thank Councillor Wright for that really important context on this plan. It is a very significant plan of management for our council and covers a really big complex area, and we know that our team takes that very seriously, and it's important that we as councillors do as well. So thank you, Councillor Wright.
Okay, I put the motion. All those in favour? Passed. Thank you. 3.6, Development Application 10.2025.25.1, Lot 8, DP 739103, 25 Walker Street, Cowra, retaining wall and boundary fence, lodged by Andy's Design and Drafting. The property owner is MA and FM Lazarou. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Horton.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. So this is coming to council because there's a variation in the height of the retaining wall and the associated fence. So if anything, realistically, it might have benefits to neighbouring properties by offering more privacy. And that's the only reason it's coming to council, is a variation in the height of that retaining wall and fence. So this has been, as is our process, of course. This has been has been publicly notified. No submissions received, and I'm happy to support the application. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kiss.
Yes, just briefly, this is along with what Councillor Horton said, it's a common sense variation to our DCP. Our DCP tries to cater for the majority of circumstances, but where you've got one neighbouring property significantly higher or lower than the other side, fence heights aren't always going to be accommodated for privacy appropriately. So this is some common sense variation to the DCP. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to comment? Councillor Horton, right of reply.
Not required. Thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Pass. Thank you. Oh, it's a DA. Sorry. All hands up. Thank you. 3.7 Development Application 10.2016.11.4 Lot 17 DP 1179358 9 Richards Drive, Cowra, S 4.55 LA, modification to aircraft hangar and pilot training school, continued use of mezzanine reconfigured from storage to office stroke meeting room, and addition of a flight simulator room. Modified 3, lodged by Fly Oz Proprietary Limited. The owner is Fly Oz Proprietary Limited. This is mainly for noting. A report will be dealt with further in the meeting. So I'll need a move. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Horton, Councillor Kiss.
As the Mayor's mentioned, this will be discussed in greater detail tonight as item 7.1. Thank you.
Councillor Horton.
Not needed. Thank you.
Anybody else like to comment? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Pass. Thank you. Yep. Okay, 3.8, planning proposal PP 2023-884, Lot 2 DP 1028751, Lynch Street, Cowra, seeking to amend the Cowra LEP of 2012 by rezoning Lot 2 DP 1028751 from SP2 infrastructure to E3 productivity support, lodged by John Salas. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This rezoning will effectively allow for usage of the land down on Lynch Street near the railway. It's been thoroughly assessed by our staff as well as New South Wales Planning, Housing and Infrastructure. May I clarify one point through the Director of Environmental Services? Just that recommendation 6 allows that environmental services are able to proceed in the event of no public submissions. Could I please clarify whether this means that a public submission supporting the rezoning would cause this to come back to council?
Thank you, Councillor Horton.
I
I have a question.
Sorry, that involved a question to our
You'll have
director,
a
if
question
possible.
to the Director.
Through the chair, if we receive submissions objecting to the rezoning, then it would be referred back.
Thank you.
Councillor Horton.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Yes, as mentioned, and I think the context here is because the proponent hasn't specified exactly what they propose to do with the land. It's been assessed for just about everything. So it's got to be the most assessed piece of land in the Shire, I would suspect. But thorough work done, and happy to support the motion. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to comment?
Mr. Chairman, I would, just in light of the Director's answer, I would recommend that you include in recommendation 6 that in the event no public submissions objecting to the proposal are received.
I'm
You're
happy
happy
to
with that?
support that. Thank you.
Councillor Horton, you're happy with that?
No problem at all. Happy to support
Okay.
that.
Councillor Kiss, Right of
I
reply.
was going to ask a
Okay,
question.
Councillor Wright, sorry.
So is this going to be placed on exhibition now, or has it been placed on exhibition and we didn't get any replies?
Through the chair, it will now go on exhibition.
I didn't notice that in the,
Well, that's what, if it's not in the recommendation, we'll put it in. Is it number 5? It is there.
Yes.
Does anybody else want to comment on Councillor Horton?
Nothing to say about chocolate eclairs, thank you.
Okay. Councillor Kiss, right of reply.
Not needed, thank you.
This is a DA, I take it. All those in favour? Thank you. Passed. Okay, 3.9, Section 355 Committee Draft Minutes, the National Resource Management Advisory Committee, meeting held on Monday the 17th of March 2025.
yeah, I'll leave that.
Councillor Wright. Councillor Watt. Thank you, Councillor Wright.
Yeah, thank you. We discussed this at the committee meeting. They have developed a very good agenda for going forward on possible topics to discuss and workshops. They did have a meeting last Monday, and they're pretty well switched on. A couple of the new, one of the new members there is he's involved in the Friends of the Bellevue Hill Land Care Group, or Billy Goat Hill Land Care Group, Ken Hutchison, and the June workshop, which I think's the 4th Monday of the month, will be a walk up there to see what work they've been doing in on the reserve up there. So it'd be good to see what's happening up there, and yeah, no, they're all interested, and things are going forward well there. Thank you.
Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Wright, for that background. Just wanted to note and remind people that part of this is a shift from the addition of the environmental sustainability strategic objective put into the community strategic plan in 2022, and is part of our recognition of the change of this area to become more of stewardship and the need for sustainability. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else like to comment? Right of reply, Councillor Wright.
Not necessary, thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Thank you. 3.10, Access Incentive Scheme Grant Funding Application from St Raphael's Catholic School. Councillor Wright. I'll second it. Councillor Wright.
Yeah, thank you. We discussed this quite thoroughly, I thought, at the general committee meeting. I hope I wasn't too intimidating, but it might have changed some people's minds. But the application itself, I didn't feel was 100% correct, because the stated the owner of the facility was the school principal, and I, just being a bush lawyer, would have thought that the Catholic diocese would probably own it, and we haven't had any information from them at what they're doing is what they propose to do. And also I would have thought, seeing it's a school, they would have access to other funding, either from the diocese or whatever, or the Department of Education, to upgrade these these properties for disability accessibility, and I don't know if they had exhausted those avenues before they come to us. Yes, it does. It is allowing disabled people to access the facility easier, but it's not actually a local business run by local people in our area, which I would have thought that's what the original scheme was for, where people are trying to bring their business up to accessibility regulations, but the cost is a little bit prohibitive for them on the business that they run, and that's why I suggested that we decline this application, and also for point 2 that we revisit the guidelines regarding who can apply for an access incentive scheme grant, that it clearly identifies who's in and who is out, because the public schools have upgraded their entrances, but it's all been done by the Department of Education, and and that's why I think St Raph's it falls into that category, and I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. I'd just like to say this is very unclear on the rules of this. It's very unclear on who owns it. It's very unclear on who funds the school. There's certainly got to be some government component of it. There's been no DA put in to be assessed, and the DA wouldn't be assessed if the access wasn't accessible to people. So it's just something that I think it's very unclear, and I think I agree with Councillor Wright. I think we do need to get the rules probably straightened out on this type of application. Anyone else like that? Councillor Watt?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just briefly to add to the reasoning for this, it was also noted that the quote that was put forward covered quite a large scope of work, and it didn't just cover the changes to accessibility in this quote. So it was very difficult for us to determine whether what was asked to be contributed was only covering the accessibility upgrade. And to note that when in, I think it was 2023, we reviewed the access incentive scheme policy, and it hadn't been reviewed, I think, for 14 years before that. And it was noted at the time that we wanted to try it out and see these issues come up, and I think we've seen a number of those over the years, so it will be good to reflect on that shortly when it's back up for another review.
Anyone else like to comment? Councillor Wright, right of reply?
It's not needed, thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. Passed. Okay, thank you. We're up to 4.1, CBD Committee. Councillor Watt. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tony's forgotten that he's joined the committee. He's got to put his hand up. As the recommendation notes, we have had our first reformation of the CBD committee in the new council term period, and reviewed the last time the committee got together was to put forward a recommendation to council that they adopt the CBD Place and Vision Activation Plan. So the committee looked at the plan itself and implemented the changes requested through the council meeting. We have elected co-chair Jesse Murphy, who's a community member, with myself to support Jesse in his first time being involved in a committee and as a chair, and have Stacey Austin as our deputy chair. I think just to remind everyone around the room what the CBD activation strategy sets out as the principles for what it would like to do is firstly, Cowra can do, working as collaborative community engagement Secondly, beautiful and connected, recognising and enhancing the history, culture, and nature of Cowra. Thirdly, fun and active, creating a vibrant hub of activity day and night with diverse activations. And fourth, something for everyone, including the power of free. And as everyone would know, this was developed out of a lot of community consultation, particularly the get together at Club Cowra with around 150, I think, or 160 people in attendance. It's great to see that come back together and looking forward to the committee continuing to work to implement that plan.
Thank you, Councillor Horton.
Thank you, and thank you for Councillor Watt for the gentle dig in the ribs to put my hand up. I think one of the opportunities here, and one of the things I'd be excited to see is the support that we can provide a revitalised business Cowra as well. So that's not necessarily discussed here, but I think that would be a great offshoot of this. There's absolutely some passionate people in the room, and you know, it's really important for us to be able to harness that and direct that energy. So yeah, happy to support the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to comment? Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to thank the volunteers who have accepted membership roles, and in particular also thank Councillor Watt and Jessie Murphy for taking on the co-chair roles. That's important to the continuance of this program. And also for Stacey Austin for stepping up as Deputy Chair too. So thank you.
Anybody else like to comment?
Just a
Councillor Watt.
question.
Sorry, Councillor Wright.
A question. I hadn't read these thoroughly, but at the beginning, you didn't get any nominations for chair and deputy chair. But then item 5.5, Mr. Jessie Murphy and Councillor Aaron Watt were appointed co-chairs of the committee. Was that what happened?
Correct. Yep.
Well, that's very good news. I probably expect that they all went to the meeting and so it hadn't been held for 12 months and they're wondering where they were going to go. And I'm glad that a bit of that people, after they spoke for a while and could see that there might be some way of this committee continuing on what they want to do, and there's people prepared to take on the executive, and so I congratulate them for doing that. It is a difficult role to do because the CBD, there's no set plan or template for operating CBD, and it's what people think they can do, and people that want to have a go, get in and have a go and try something. And because I was told by one businessman in town, the most popular business that people want to open up is a baby shop. And this was a business development person talking to the business owner, and he said, all right, why is that? Because they've just had a baby and they can't find the things they want to buy, so they think they'll open a shop. And he said that's a stepping stone for a disaster. And this is what, we did have a entrepreneurial group thing going here in Cowra to try and build up some business skills. I think there was a bit of success in that, but by large, a lot of business skills haven't been built up because of the chain stores come in and people were operating at a lower level, didn't really find out what they had to do to run a section of that shop on their own. And we've sort of lost a lot of those skills. The families that run businesses before, it was sort of part of their daily life. And now when people start, they want to operate during school hours and preferably not weekends, and they don't realise they've got to be open when people want them, that their lifetime might change. But I wish them well, and I'm glad to see that someone still wants to run it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Does anyone else like to comment? Right, a reply, councillor Watt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to my fellow councillors for their comments. I just wanted to make clear, following up from Councillor Horton, that the intention of the CBD committee is not to replace Business Cowra, and we're, as Councillor Horton said, we're really excited to both see the Business Cowra reforming and also see committee member Zach Jones, who his first involvement with the committee was on the CBD committee, and to see him step up on Business Cowra and come back to us. He's now changing roles to being the Business Cowra representative, and he's got so confident and passionate through his involvement. Obviously, that's why he put his hand up in the first place, but he's got very confident over the past 2 years on the CBD committee, and it's great to see him stepping up in that way. And we're very excited for what's to come for Business Cowra. I think we can see what the kind of role of the CBD committee is looking to be, and following up on those comments from Councillor Wright, there's a number of actions from this plan already in our plan that we put on exhibition for the 1-year operational plan and the CSP, particularly around doing business gap analysis of the community and figuring out how we can support those gaps. Training for retail operators in particular in the main street about product decisions and placement and customer service, as well as the Macquarie Street redevelopment. And I think something that I'm probably most proud of our time in the CBD committee, second of course to getting the community together to write this plan, is that we use the spend map data to help our local businesses make decisions about their operating hours, and we actually took the statistics found in that research to some local tourism hospitality operators, and showed them that there was huge spending on Saturday that dropped off on Sunday, and we could show that people were here and they had nowhere to eat on Sunday morning, and that's resulted into businesses opening on Sunday, hospitality businesses, and they have been doing that for over a year and reporting that they're doing very well in that. And I think that's a really powerful thing that we can do as council by gathering that information that there's no way that these business owners would have access to, and supporting them in taking that risk, but an informed risk, which is something everyone always asks for, but people worry about how that's actually going to come through. And that's the kind of engagement I think we're looking to do, to be that connected between what the business community, the local community are looking for, and what council's looking for, and trying to bridge that gap. So thanks.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Passed. Thank you. Item 4.1. No, we've done that. 5.1. Cowra Library operating hours. Can I have a mover? Councillor Kiss. Councillor Wright. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Look, anything worthwhile is deserving of a thorough review, and our library opening hours is one such example. We love our library. It's a place of learning, culture and community. I'm glad that council has trialled the extended opening hours, but I am certain that the benefit on balance to the community on having extended hours versus the costs doesn't add up. It is pleasing to note, however, that the additional promotion of the library in general has increased in overall usage. I think it serves as a reminder that the opportunities are out there. Sometimes we just need reminding of what they are, and make an effort ourselves to actively engage. Thank you.
Councillor Wright.
Yeah, we did have a discussion with Central West Libraries last week at the information meeting, and a lot of figures and everything was presented, but and I didn't really pick up, because the original report they put through, the money or the hours weren't right or something on the report, and I didn't pick up what had happened there. But we were told that we're a very good functioning library as a library, and we are trying new things there. We've got a dedicated staff, and that's two good things to have in a library. I think it's just what we need is ensure that we do keep up to date with what can be provided by a library, and for them to work with the Country University Centre with their students and what we might be able to provide those students with. So yeah, no, I think we work on what we got. We were told, and that you can only take as what you're told as being accurate, that a few Cootamundra and Gunnedah libraries have a very high visitation, but they seem to be doing a lot more things besides the library. They hold welfare meetings and so forth, groups there. So I don't know if that's in a private part of the library or whatever they do. But it's always good to learn, and we wish them the best. And it's our interest for it to happen, because we pay Central West Libraries to run our library, and we hope that it fulfills the need. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to comment? Councillor Horton?
Just briefly, thank you, Mr Mayor. I think Councillor Wright's correct. Whilst we might not be continuing with the extended hours, it has highlighted some other opportunities and some other activities that we might trial, or things that we saw were popular, authors' talks and that kind of thing. And I think from the conversations we've had and the visits we've had, it's clear that Central West Libraries and the local staff as well have that very much front of mind in terms of what other options they can provide. So I think there's some ancillary benefits that have come out of the trial. Thank you.
Anybody else like to comment? Councillor Watt?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Firstly, I'd just like to say I really appreciate my colleagues taking the time both to delay the report from when we received it last month to ensure an accurate reflection of the true cost of continuing the trial, as well as to do the second trial with strong promotion. As my colleagues have said tonight, we've seen a really significant increase in general hours of engaging in the library, clearly due to the promotion of the library here. And I think that was really important that we gave it that strong goal of promoting it, and people were aware, and it's seen people come through the doors. Also like to thank CWL for coming to present the reports to us, because it's really important to see where we sit in comparison to other comparable libraries and those state library standards. I would like to note that an increase of $10,000 would still have what we spend on our library per capita below a number of standards, including the state library standards and comparable councils. But at the moment, I don't think that's the right area to spend the $10,000 to continue these areas. As we've highlighted through the conversations we've had over a number of weeks, particularly with our 2 visits from CWL in the last fortnight, we need to do a lot to increase engagement in the library. Depending on the usage of the book locker and online resources will not bring in new patrons, it will not bring in new users. It is primarily existing users who are going to use those services because they already know what kind of books they're looking for, and they already know what they're engaging in. It's not a negative, but I think it shouldn't be our focus of where we spend our resources going forward. I think it's something that will come by local users and existing users already doing there. When we first talked about the trial, we also spoke about having coordination of the Civic Centre Library and the Art Gallery, and I think if we are to consider changing our hours in the future, we should do that as well and try and build that Civic Square proposal that we have as a commitment of council to really test out if people do want to spend their time in that Civic Square area. I think it's really important that we acknowledge that in the report, which is page 4 of the report and page 100 of our council papers, Cowra has one of the lowest rates of visitation compared to our comparable local council areas by population. And for those areas that had a tier 1 library, so a single main library in the local government area, we were the second lowest visitation. And I think that's something we really need to be digging into. I don't think that we should take that and say we tried this trial and it didn't work and continue on. I think that needs to be a really big focus of our council and made really clear to CWL that we want to make that change. As Councillor Bright noted, some of the other councils do things that might seem a bit beyond the traditional library scope of providing services that other, such as welfare checks or JP services is something that happens in small communities often. But when we also look at comparable areas like Orange or areas that have tier 1 libraries that have more access to other services, they are still seeing significantly higher visitation. And we have invested a lot of resources in this library. We continue to do so, and we prioritise learning and education in our community strategic plan. And I think the library is a core part of how we can develop that, and we need to keep it front of mind for how this council spends their resources and in our expectations on CWL. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else like to comment? I've got just a couple of things. Central West Libraries indicated that they were going to possibly have a trip to Gunnedah to see exactly what it is they do to get so many people in there. And as Councillor Wright said, perhaps they're not traditional library attendances, but certainly they do get some numbers through. And the other thing that I took in from the presentation last week was that we're buying some game machines, as I understand it, for the library. And I would have thought kids needed more screen time, like they need a hole in the head. But anyway, if it gets people into the library, perhaps they'll do other things while they're there. Right, a reply, Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Look, I'd like to thank the library staff and for the council staff for their intensive investigations and very informative reports. They've been not only interesting, but they've certainly helped us to better understand our library and its facilities. And like my councillor colleagues, you know, I would like to use this opportunity to explore what's happening in other libraries to see where they're getting their additional stats for, see whether that potentially is a gap within our community, and then perhaps view that as an opportunity for our own improvement. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Passed. Thank those against? Thank you. Passed. Right, 5.2, Local Government Remuneration Tribunal, report on mayoral and councillor fees. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Wright. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Being that Councillor Horton's declared an interest in this, I'll step up on this one. But look, it does seem a little bit odd to be awarding oneself a remuneration increase, but I am satisfied that the tribunal's annual determination of 3% is fair. Honestly, I'm grateful for the remuneration, and it does actually increase my ability to actively participate in the community and council life considerably. I just hope the community feels that I'm serving them to their satisfaction, and always invite them to contact me if there's anything that they believe that I can assist them with. Thank you.
Councillor Wright.
Yeah, it is difficult to accept a increase in your remuneration, even though it's been awarded to you by an impartial arbiter, IPART, who often creates problems for council with they hamstrung council on how they can increase their general rate, but and then expect the council to generate enough money to pay the increase in the councillors and mayors' remuneration. And I've said it before, every time I say it, we should take this to the Anti-Discrimination Tribunal, because the way they organise it is that it's all done on the size of the council's turnover, nearly. And if you're on a council in a rural and regional area, you get paid less to make the same decisions as the people in larger electorates. The ones in Sydney, they probably don't even have to look after water and sewerage, two of the main parts of civilisation, where we've got to maintain a water and sewerage system and a waste collection system, and within our budget. Plus, they discriminate on postcodes who's going to get what. And councillors to the west of us, they're down to $12,000, I think, and they spend half their time driving to get somewhere, and then drive to a regional area where their councillor colleagues are on $25,000 to $35,000 annual thing, and they just got to hop in the car and drive 2 blocks, and they're at the meeting. It's not a fair system. The state and federal government, they don't operate on this sort of system where the parliamentarians of a regional area or rural area that might have vast tracts of land and not many people, they still got the same number of people, but they don't get paid less for looking after them. So I just, I appreciate the increase. Since 2023, there was a significant increase then of $5,000 a year, which has made it a lot easier to operate under, and it is there to encourage someone half thinking about coming on, becoming a councillor, to say, well, I might get a bit of money to cover the costs, because like today, the people that are at a job, and I didn't go to it all, but if you wanted to have a look around the council facilities, you had to take the day off. And we had 2 of those this month. So it's not just coming to a meeting in the evening 3 or 4 times a month. There's quite a lot of other things go on. And I did read in the policy in the report that IPART put out, and the people complaining, wanting more money. Parramatta wants more money they want to be equal to the Sydney City Council and so forth, because they generate so much money and everything. There's one council there, my memory's not real good, but their council operates on a 40.6 square kilometre boundary. And there's 3 suburbs in that, 3 wards, and they've got 94,000 ratepayers. But it's a 20 kilometre by 20 kilometre boundary. We don't even get to the edge of our boundary in 20 kilometres. So it's just, it's not a fair system, but we'll take what we can get. Not because, well, I do need it, but I don't think it wasn't the reason I stood for council, but it is a little bit of an incentive for someone to step up and know that they will get some remuneration. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to comment? I mean, I agree with Councillor Kiss that it's a bit hard to award yourself a thing and tell everybody how hard you're working and you need more. It's very embarrassing. But I also agree with Councillor Wright. Anyone that did it for the money, they'd be going the wrong way about it. It's certainly, you've got to love what you do, and there is a lot more to it than most people see. So, Councillor Kiss, right of reply?
Yes, I would like to say that being a councillor is a labour of love. Thank you.
I put the motion. All those in favour? Pass. Thank you. 5.3, Section 355, Committee Minutes, Cowra Youth Council. Councillor Watt. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Watt. Yep.
Nikki needs to sit over here with me if she's leaving every 2 minutes. I feel like I say this every time we put minutes up for Youth Council, but yet again, they cover a huge amount of work that the Youth Council volunteered to do each month. I just want to be clear that this report notes the nominations received for executive positions, but the election has not been held. So next time we come to you, we'll be able to report who our new executive members are. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate the Youth Council for being awarded the Best Dressed Float with an Indian theme during the Festival of International Understanding. The committee decided to combine their prize money with their winnings from last year when they also won a prize for their float, and to have a more relaxed May meeting at the Japanese Gardens with some sweet treats. Shockingly, though, even though they did enjoy their sweet treats, there was a lot of work that was done at that meeting, debriefing a really successful Youth Week and Anzac Day contributions. This year, Youth Council decided to hold a Cowra Stars talent show as part of Youth Week, and it was a really fantastic event with 10 acts performing and over 100 attendees. And the committee have decided to continue holding that each year for Youth Week. Thank you again to Brad Jim for collaborating with us for the youth gym sessions, which were also very well attended. Thank you to Sammy Skolthorpe for collaborating with us to provide first aid basics workshops with 14 participants. Our CYC annual trivia was also a great success with 60 people in attendance. We were a bit limited this year by a different venue and we'll book a bit earlier next time. In particular, thank you to Trish Gunderson who provided catering for the night on her birthday. We also held an event at the Civic Centre, and thanks to the team there for helping us out with that for a sold out screening of the Minecraft movie. For our newer councillors in the room who might not know, a few years ago, Youth Council decided they wanted to make a contribution to Anzac Day commemorations and decided that they would bake Anzac Day cookies together and then give them out to attendees at the commemoration. Each year we seem to not bake enough. This year they baked 400 cookies and they went very quickly, and it's a really beautiful, I think, recognition from our youth councillors of the significance of that event, and it's great to see them connect so well. As I said, despite the fact that we scheduled a meeting for relaxation and excitement, they came up with many more exciting ideas and we had lots to talk about. We planned our engagement in NAIDOC week celebrations, a plan to engage in the New Year's Eve beach party, ideas for a concept of having a Cowra Youth Hub where people could drop in, and their ideas that will bring forward about ways for them to continue to build their experience by potentially shadowing some Section 355 committees or community groups to see how other groups work. So as I say every time, they're a fantastic group of young people and it's really an honour to work with them.
Councillor Horton.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Just one quick comment and then I want to expand on something that Councillor Watt has correctly identified. I think there were many more cookies baked, but there was some St Raph's staff who said they were doing quality control, so they didn't all make it out of the kitchen, unfortunately. The thing that I want to draw out, though, is the interaction that the Youth Council and the Youth Council laws have at a local level with businesses and business operators, with other community groups, with school groups, with other organisations, and this is what is building their capacity and their connection to this place. And it also, of course, it's that old idea of it takes a village. These kids are getting exposure to a lot of different ideas, different ways of working, different ways of achieving outcomes and goals, and they keep coming back with more ideas and more energy, to the point, I think, sometimes where we need to perhaps curtail that a little bit and direct it a bit more effectively, but I absolutely agree, they're a fantastic bunch of kids to work with. What's been interesting in my very brief time that I've been there too is the influence that different personalities coming into the Youth Council can have. A couple of older kids from Cowra High, for example, who have particular interests in particular areas, and that's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all, but it's a really good reminder of the power and the influence that passion and energy can have in a really positive way. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to comment? Right, a reply, Councillor Watt. Not required. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. World Peace Bell Association. We'll move on to 5.4, Section 355, Committee Draft Minutes, the Australian Chapter of the World Peace Bell Association. Councillor Watt. I'll second that. Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. We're missing Councillor Downing tonight, who is the chair, so that's why I'll move this tonight. Continuation on all of the big things that Youth Council do. These minutes articulate that the planning has begun for the 2025 Annual Youth Peace Forum, which will be held on Thursday, the 18th of September at the Cowra Civic Centre. Invitations have been sent to all Cowra schools and will now be sent to Breadbend because of the significant amount of Cowra kids attending there. Councillors will remember that last year we had over 100 youth represented at this event, and we're hoping it'll be another strong one. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd just like to say that people are very surprised that Cowra has the Australian World Peace Belt in our front of our civic centre. That comes as a shock to them that that it's not at Canberra, it's actually in Cowra, and it's a credit to our chapter that look after that and promote it, that it's there, and it's another one of the little things that make Cowra a different town to everywhere else. Right, a reply, Councillor Watt.
Just very briefly following on from that, Mr Mayor, if you haven't yet seen the video, there's now a sign with a QR code at the Peace Bell speaking a little bit about the history and the great Cowra people who are involved in that, including the late George Ferguson, which is a really great reminder, I think, of all of us of the great things that people in Cowra have done in the past and volunteered to be part of such an outstanding thing.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Passed. Thank you. We're up to 6.1, Section 355, Committee Minutes, Sale Yards Committee. Councillor Wright. Myself, I'll second it. Councillor Wright.
Yeah, thank you. The committee, we had very lucky to have the presence of the director, Dirk Weimer, there to explain the proposed fees and charges for the sale yards. They're much the same with the normal increase, although we are trying to identify an easier way of collecting a fee from users of the sale yards between sales, where they deliver stock to go onto another truck or so far, or pick up stock there to go to another sale or abattoirs or something. We have got there is a system in place, and we hope to keep that going. As with human nature, no one thinks that they're not using as much as they are, or if they are, someone else can pay for it. But we do have to maintain the facilities and the use of those facilities often when people aren't there, and that if anything does happen, you don't actually get to see what did happen. But everyone seemed happy with the increase and the way we're going forward. Our numbers are struggling a bit, but due to the season and the competition from direct sales and also Auction Plus and people selling store lambs or lighter lambs on that platform. But we've got to be competitive and work with what we got. As mentioned today at the inspection, the truck wash is a big income earner for the facility, and that covers vehicles from everywhere. And because part of the transport system and the environmental system and the biosecurity system is that trucks are supposed to be clean when they arrive on the producer's property to load their sheep on to be taken to wherever they're going to go, so there's no contamination, plus vice versa, that they come home on a clean truck if you buy them, and you reduce the possibility of a biosecurity incursion. Other than that, we're just trying to maintain the activity of the sale there, and and agents, they like, if they don't sell something, they got no income. So it's in their interest, and they know it's in their interest to keep it going. Ability Network have been running the canteen, and it's been a very successful addition to our yards. And I hope that they're happy with what they do. And I was very happy to see on Facebook last week, I hope I haven't breached the social media plan, but policy, but ability were advertising that they were open on the Wednesday to 3 o'clock for any meals, any member of the public to go there for a meal, that's what it's there for. And so that'll be good. And I think that's about all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. I'd like to just say that the sale yards are very important to the town. They're important to council. It's an asset for the town. It's not just about selling stock. It's also a place where farmers can come and meet and have a yarn to somebody else, and there's a bit of mental health benefit also from the yards. But somebody has to pay for it. We have to keep our charges up, and this stock in transit thing, those that were out there today would have seen the B double turn up full of cattle that went to the cattle yards. Now, we don't sell cattle, so they're using our facilities to reload their truck or water their stock. Well, someone has to pay for that. If they happen to break those facilities, we have to repair them. So it's only fair that the people that use them have to pay. So we're working on that, and I just think it's one of the better things we do is running sale yards. Anyone else like to comment? Right, a reply, Councillor Wright.
It's not needed. Thank you.
Put the motion. All those in favour? Pass. Thank you. 6.2, Crown Land devolved to Council, request for categorisation and Council to become a Crown Land manager. Councillor Kiss. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. By these reports, it's taken us 150 years for us to recognise that there was no appointed Crown Land manager for these two land reserves that have been used as cemetery. And I'd like to congratulate the staff who identified it, and I only wish I'd been there to see the expression on their face when they read the dates and realised that this had actually occurred. Look, in any event, we've still been caring for the land, as we would have even if we were Crown managers. However, in actually being appointed a Crown Land manager and not just having it devolved upon us, it'll give us the opportunity to more actively manage the activities on the land. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Horton.
Thank you. Yes, just briefly. It's an administrative action, but an important administrative action to give us the power to properly manage the land that we're already responsible for looking after anyway. So it makes sense. Thank you.
Anyone else like to comment? One of the great problems in life, assumption. We assumed we were the Crown Land managers and we weren't. Okay, right, a reply, Councillor Kiss. Put the motion. All those in favour? Pass. Thank you. Righto, we're up to 7.1, develop application 10.2016.11.4, lot 17 DP 1179358/9, Richards Drive, Cowra, modification to aircraft hangar and pilot training school, continued use of the mezzanine, reconfigured from storage to office / meeting room, and addition of a flight simulator room. Module 3 lodged by Fly Oz Proprietary Limited. The owner of the property is Fly Oz Proprietary Limited. Councillor Horton, Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Horton.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Yes, so as you mentioned in the introduction, this is a slight modification. One is a kind of a notification, I suppose. They've repurposed an area in their school to use as office and meeting space. Had been previously storage space. No change to the physical attributes of the building in that. That's a notification. And the other part is that they want to add a flight simulator room. So they do want to add like tack on space onto the side of the existing property. And the variation really is around the setback then to the adjoining property. And which is why it's come to council. So a couple of things. Firstly, this is a really energetic and successful business, and if council can do simple, small things to assist businesses, then it makes sense, I think, for us to do so. It won't impact or impinge on any other adjoining users of that area. And the reality is also, from a physical perspective, there are already water tanks that would mask this slight addition to the property that are around the same size. So it's really of minimal visual impact and minimal access impact. There's still a 2 metre setback on the adjoining property. So there's still space in between the existing property. So happy to support the recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to comment? Okay,
I have a question, please.
yes,
Oh.
Councillor Wright.
On page 202 of the agenda, there's there's a plan there. So that covered porch area is where the simulator is going to go, is it?
Director.
It's all right. It's been clarified by my colleagues. I didn't scroll down far enough.
Where are we up to? Councillor Kiss, have you spoken? No. Okay. I'd just like to follow up on Councillor Horton's comments that they appear to be a very successful business, and I've always been of the opinion it's much easier to get an existing business to expand and try and help them than it is to try and get a new business in town. And this seems to be one of those things, and I agree with Councillor Horton. We should, if we can, we should do what we can to help them. So, write a reply, Councillor Horton.
No, can I make a comment, please?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, no, I support the recommendation, and to the council's credit, this business and its success has been one of the more positive decisions by council to assist a business in Cowra. I think I'm right that on public record we've given them concessional loan rates for the first establishment, and they're buying a second marquee block on the new subdivision at a concessional loan amount of money for them to continue their endeavours. And it's clear that there is a need for this retraining and updating skills and so forth from various pilots from around the world. But we need to keep in mind, it's not a negative comment as to it, but we noticed there today, we're told how busy they are, and there's more aeroplanes happening and on the site, and but there's not sort of a trigger of do they need to make a bigger contribution to the maintaining the airport because they're using it more. If a business in town grew, they've got to provide more parking space or so forth. Admittedly, council owns all the land there that's for parking space, but if it needs to be upgraded or something, it'd be a very difficult thing to deliver because other existing businesses there are busy too. But this is their business is teaching people to fly and upgrading them, so there's more just planes taking off, landing, and so forth. We just got to be recognise that the airport's getting busier, and what controls may be needed to ensure safety on the across the fence on the operational land of the airport. And it's a bit like when a dairy goes in. We had a dairy went in on Farley Trigg Road, and he was asked to put $120,000 or $200,000 into a reserve to put a turn-off lane, or whatever you call it, a slip lane or something, where it entered the Forbes Road, off Trigg Road, because he's going to have a milk truck and a feed truck probably every day going in and out there, like 2 trucks a day, 14 trucks a week. Whereas his neighbour built hay sheds, but wasn't asked to contribute to the road approach or anything, because it didn't trigger how many trucks were going to go in and out with this loaded hay. It's just an anomaly of the planning system, and I wish Fly Oz all the best over there, and I hope they build the new shed and and they increase their business. But I think as landowners there, we need to be recognised the how busy it might get and what we might have to do to have a safe area for all the planes to be parked on and for operations of it. It's just, yeah, I'm probably being a bit pessimistic, but I'm trying to identify a problem going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Horton.
No, not required. Thank you.
Put the motion. All those in favour? It's DA, people. Passed. Thank you. 7.2. Oh, I'll get Councillor Watt back in. Okay, we had the exchange of councillors. 7.2, development application 10.2024.68.2, lot 291 DP 45349 and lot 292 DP 46474, 14 Short Street, Cowra, section 4.5, 1A, modification to the centre-based childcare facility, modified building footprints, car park and detention basin, modification lodged by S. D'Souza. The property owner is the Department of Planning and Industry and Environment. They are Crown Lands. Councillor Watt, thank you. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Watt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Your throat must get sore. So importantly, firstly, the original development application was determined by council due to the financial value of the development, and is such being referred to us again. As has been written, the application has been assessed by our team as substantially the same development as the development for which the consent was originally granted. Essentially, what was put up in the first place is very much the same as what it is here, but they have asked for a modification, and because we assessed the first one, we need to assess this. Importantly, it continues to have a maximum capacity of 60 children on site. For the preschool, there's a few changes here where they're proposed to remove some of the ancillary elements, the multi-purpose room, electrical room, storeroom and office room from this location, relocating and reducing the size of the laundry, kitchen and wash closet, as well as the reduction of car spacing lands. The original application had more car spaces than needed, so this plan still meets all the requirements, both in terms of parking, but also importantly in terms of the education and care services national regulations about unencumbered indoor space and outdoor space per child. This report has also put forward that the site will move slightly from the original plans put forward, as articulated here, that they've put forward new contamination reports to provide that background, and the team believe that with any remediation works that come out of the assessment, the site will continue to be suitable, and I would support that recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Horton.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thanks, Councillor Watt. Similar to previous development applications that relate to businesses, if we can, as far as I'm concerned, if I can support them, then I will. This one, yes, we're talking about changes to the size of the building's footprint, but they've been clever in terms of not impinging on that space available for children. As Councillor Watt identified, there are guidelines around the amount of space available for individual children, that kind of thing. So the changes that they're proposing don't impact on that space that's available for those kids. And as previously said, we're still looking at being able to accommodate the same number of children as had previously been proposed. So happy to support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Horton. Anyone else like to have a comment? Councillor Watt, right a reply?
Yes, I forgot to ask a question. The report notes that there's a change size in the stormwater basin, but the recommendation notes that, but there's no information in the text of it. Can you give us some background on that, please?
With regard to that, what we would be requiring is additional stormwater management plans to be submitted at the construction certificate stage. So until such times as we've received that, we don't have the full scope of it.
Thank you very much for that. No other comments.
Thank you. I'll put the motion to DA. All those in favour? Passed. Thank you. Can we get Councillor Kiss back in, please? Okay, 7.3, the draft Disability Inclusion Action Plan. Councillor Watt.
Thank you. I would like to move a slightly different motion with a second dot point to reinstate the action 1.3 as reads in the 2017 Disability Inclusion Action Plan, titled Increase the Visibility of People with a Disability in Cowra Council Publications, Communications, Website and Social Media.
Do I have a seconder for that?
I support that.
Thanks, Councillor Kiss. Have we got that written down? Just, you've got a copy? Right. Councillor Watt?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will leave the majority of the conversation to Councillor Kiss, but just to note that it's something. This is a plan we've been looking at for some time to make sure that it's up to date with what the council wants to look at in making sure that our community continues to be accessible for everyone, and that we make it known that we are a community that is welcoming and willing to adapt as things change. And I'm particularly excited, as always, about our commitment to making more accessible playgrounds for everyone, as well as the great success we've seen of the Access Incentive Scheme over the past few years and the capacity for us to continue to make our community more accessible. Thank you.
Councillor Kiss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Watt, for raising that one particular point. Very supportive of it, and as you would have seen in a previous email, there are a few other minor adjustments that I would like to have considered. However, not having had the opportunity to speak with our director, I've sought to instead wait until we have this out on public submission, and then I'll make a submission just with those minor considerations. But look, sorry, not sorry, but this is a really exciting document, and I got a page of notes. Look, we really have come a long way. This is only our second ever Disability Inclusion Action Plan, so DAP. A few examples since our initial one: we've installed a lift in the Civic Centre, we've installed braille signage, hearing loops, accessible amenities. Main Street alone has received a lot of attention. Multiple business, not-for-profit have benefited from our access incentive scheme, as Councillor Watt has mentioned. And look, inclusion isn't about special access; it's about equitable access. And I'm gonna just enlighten you here with a little cartoon that sticks in my head every time when I think about what is accessibility. This cartoon I saw had snow-covered steps and a snow-covered ramp, and there was an attendant madly shoveling off the steps so that multiple children could get into the school. And he's saying, you know, oh, be patient to the one child that's in the wheelchair. And he was saying, you know, I'll do the ramp next. The moral of the cartoon, obviously, being that if he'd shoveled the ramp instead, then they all could have used it. So, I mean, that's really the crux of what our DAP is. I mean, but that was told in one simple and poignant cartoon. Honestly, 8 years ago, I think when we did the original DAP, or it came in just before I came onto the Access Committee, I believe we were still actually coming to grips with the idea that a ramp was not solely for the use of a person with mobility challenges, that it was seen as being the special addition for someone with special needs. But I think now we see a ramp and we think, like, beauty, this just makes it easier for everyone. So this change isn't just in our physical environment, it's actually a change in our mindset. And I believe that's much more challenging and deserving of acclamation. So look, I look at this plan, I see the opportunity for growth, both in our mindset and in our physical environment. It'll help us to transform the way we view disability. I think it can help us on our journey to change the focus from what a person cannot do to what a person can do, and what barriers we can remove to then help them live their lives to their best ability. And you'll see in the report when it comes out, 20% of Australians are identified as having disability. I mean, that's huge. At some stage, we actually need to accept that it's not so much a matter of having a disability as it is that everybody has differing levels of ability in certain areas. But I think that's going to be a challenge we tackle in the more distant future. I'm very proud of this draft plan and our Access Committee because they have greatly contributed to its information and direction from their first-hand lived experiences. I'd also like to thank the staff for their efforts in actively listening to our experiences and collating them into an actual doable plan. I could speak on it all night, as you know, but I care enough about my fellow councillors not to. But look, I implore our community to read through this and remembering it's a draft plan, especially anyone living with a disability or anyone caring for somebody with a disability. It's a real life document and it actually has to reflect the real life needs of our community, or it's not going to be of any use to anyone. So please let us know what you think. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kiss. Anybody else like to comment? Councillor Horton.
Just quickly, and I want to thank Councillors Watt and Kiss for their work on this. It would be remiss of me not to take the opportunity to talk about a barbecue I go to on the last Sunday of every month in Broome Park. Mr Perfect is an organisation that's relatively young, but there are Mr Perfect barbecues being set up all over the place. And the idea, put simply, is just a place where people can go and talk about whatever they want to talk about, or not talk at all and just have a sausage. The reason that it springs to mind, of course, is some of the stats that we've got here. And I'm kind of, I guess I'm probably outing myself a little bit here. I think sometimes when we think about disability, we think about kind of cliches and we think about classic someone in a wheelchair kind of thing. You know, they need assistance to get in and out of the back of a vehicle or whatever, or what have you. There's a stat here, Australia at a glance, 44%, the proportion of population that will experience a mental health condition during their lifetime. So there's a lot of disability that's not seen, or that might be seasonal. For example, or transitional, depending on someone's time, place and situation in their life. So whatever we can do to shine sunlight and make this stuff okay and make it not so, like, just get rid of that, any of that stigma, obviously is important. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Horton. Anybody else like to comment? Councillor Wright.
Oh, it's probably a question statement, a comment, but I seen the amendment that was sent, Councillor Kiss sent out last night, and I noticed a bit about all planning DAs should include suitable things for disabled access. And is that going to be compulsory or just a suggestion?
I don't know who that question's to. Would you like the director to answer that?
Well, either Councillor Kiss or even our planning department,
Well,
because instead it's a, it's sort of being ramped up a bit or something, I think. But
I'll go to the director, please.
Through the chair, the standard referred to has been adopted in every single state of Australia as part of their planning legislation to enable people to age in place. The only two states that haven't adopted it is Western Australia and New South Wales. Council has currently got those standards in our development control plan as something to aspire to. As yet, those standards have not been adopted in New South Wales. Some councils have taken them on board and put them in as a requirement. We, however, have not as yet.
Thank you.
Councillor Wright, I'll allow Councillor Kiss to also answer that.
If I might just add, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I believe that there was something, and not having my notes in front of me, about saying that we actually did put in a submission to Local Government New South Wales asking them to advocate on behalf of local government to have these included in New South Wales just as they are in the rest of the states and not just in Western Australia. So it was to be considered as an addition to the DAP to say this is the action that we've taken through the action of the previous DAP. Thank you.
Councillor Wright, are you happy with that?
Oh, you know, I'm reasonably happy. Like it's, but no, if it's going to be compulsory, how far it goes in the design of the building. Now, and it became evident there today. We went into the disabled access cabin, and the reaction was excellent. And it was excellent. But to get access into the second bedroom, it had a narrow doorway on it. So it wasn't, they didn't have that access right through the house, which is something that might be necessary or not necessary. And how far do we go? Because I know the Anglican Church put a bit of an access in, but probably didn't do it exactly the way it should have been done. But we fitted everything in, but then wheelchairs become bigger than what they were, and you need a bigger door. But for some reason in 1930, you used to have big doors. I don't know if it's to get the horse in when the owner came home drunk and got him inside. You used to have bigger doors on country houses. So, yeah, no, and then I see at the Service New South Wales building, there used to be 3 or 4 steps to get into the building, but to put a ramp in, it was like a maze. There's about 3, the ramp goes through about 3 levels. So it's all good, and we got to work with it, and it's probably educating people, and you don't know when it's going to affect you. Like you could have an accident or something happened, and you might need it. But I'm a bit concerned how far we go with the design of the house to have all these other fittings, and I don't think it's the size of the door that affects or the ramp that affects my mental health. It's that getting me off my backside and going to work's the biggest problem.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. And whilst we're on that, I think we tread a fine line. I think all business premises, public premises, should be accessible to everyone. But I don't believe you should, if you want to build a house with steps at the front up into your house, I think you should be allowed to. And I think there's a fine line between Big Brother and individual rights. So, I mean, if that house then is not saleable to someone that has a disability, that's the price you pay. You won't get as much for the house, but that surely should be your decision rather than Big Brother telling you. My thoughts. Councillor Watt, right of reply.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to councillors for the conversation. I'd just like to say 2 things to wrap it up. I think comments, and obviously there is a fine line in how you implement planning changes over time, but comments that you know we can do what we want and you can choose to make it accessible or not based on your choice of resale value really isn't tackling the problem. The problem really is that people who have higher access needs end up paying higher costs and they end up in difficult situations, or people who, as Councillor Wright referred to, have an accident or get older and lose their capacity to go around unencumbered, are forced into situations where they may have to sell their home or they may have to move because of what's happened. And the idea of the work that Councillor Kiss put to local government New South Wales, and that every state other than New South Wales and Western Australia has put in, is to stop that barrier to people, because people who have physical access challenges already face so many challenges every day, and financial challenges often as well. And it's an effort to try and shift that a little bit in the, it's not suggesting that every house needs to have, a giant ramp and a gold standard to everything, but it's making sure that they can walk into a business and not have to think, oh, here's another place I can't go into, or look for a house and there only be one available that's twice the market rate of every other house. And that's hard for us to think about as putting on individuals, but it's the only way that you can get that change across the group. I also just wanted to say a thank you to those who share their lived experience in this room and those who share their lived experience through the consultation period and through the access committee, because it's so important to inform people who don't have those challenges. It's really hard to be the person to say that and to feel like you're asking for something that people think is asking too much or asking for something that someone else doesn't have. But I think Councillor Kiss's example of just wanting that equal footing is really what it's about. So thank you.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Passed. Thank you. Right, 8.1, late reports. The quarterly budget review statement, period ending March 2025. Councillor Watt, thank you. This is it was on a separate agenda as a late report. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Kiss, thank you. You got that, Councillor Wright? Yep. Councillor Watt?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we get to the third quarter budget review, we get a bit more of an idea about where we stand. As with all budgets, you make a plan at the beginning and you adjust over time as things come forth and change. When we look at our QBRS here, we see a number of positives, that we've made some negotiations by the look of it to quite significantly reduce our annual website costs. Big congratulations to the Civic Centre team for an increase in their ticket sales, I think $20,000 over expectations, and a really positive show of the response from our community and broader communities to the new seating, I think, and the idea of memberships would be my read from that. Tell me if I'm wrong, Director. We've also seen a really positive increase in expected developments with an increase in Section 94A contributions, which is a great sign to the state of our building in the area and developments. Another strong positive is the increase in the income received from the Department of Veteran Affairs to maintain the war graves here. As we all know, it's a very important part of Cowra's history and something we all hold very close to our heart, but the cost of maintaining that is significant and we do wear a large proportion of that cost, but we are pleased to see the Department of Veteran Affairs acknowledging that those costs are increasing, as well as the really positive income from our cabins at the Cowra Van Park. And thank you to the council staff who showed us through today and articulated the changes that we've made that are resulting in an increase in income and getting back up to pre-COVID levels, which is fantastic. In some parts, budgets look good, sometimes in the third quarter because some expenditure that was planned for this financial year has been moved to the next financial year, including capital expenditure planned for the Aquatic Centre, works at the depot, covering of the yard walkways at the sale yard, and a delay of works to the Young Road water main upgrade and Bidding Creek Road East mains replacement. But overall, I feel that we are making those decisions for good reasons, because we are responding to the situation that is put forward in works that we need to prioritise, and making those decisions in line with the best plans for implementation of the project most efficiently. So thank you very much to all of our team for the work you do to keep a tight rein on this very challenging budget that we have with all that we're expected to deliver. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kiss.
Not needed, thank you.
Anyone else like to comment? Councillor Horton.
Very, very quick one, and I know I've said it before, but I want to say it again and make sure, for anyone that is listening or watching, there are councils around the state that have applied for rate variations. So for us to be in this financial position is a credit to all those involved in managing it. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Horton. Anyone else comment? Councillor Wright.
Yeah, the only comment I make that we operate on a budget and things change throughout the year. They go up and they go down, and this is what this report indicates on after the third quarter, which indicates that we are a living budget. It is a living document, and we're meeting the problems they arise or the successes they arise, and the figures indicate what it's cost or what it hasn't cost. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Anybody else like to comment? Councillor Watt, write a reply.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wasn't going to say it, but I think Councillor Judy Smith would be very mad at me if I didn't. I feel like she's speaking through me, but important to know that $3.92 million is not free money that we can spend on anything. That is largely allocated to those number of projects that we have postponed. Unfortunately, we can't go and spend that in the community, but they are all earmarked for significant work like the pool developments that are coming forward.
Thank you, Councillor Watt. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Passed. Thank you. Are there any notices of motions? Okay. I'll take a motion now to close the meeting to the public to consider the following. 10.1, Council Building Asset, 1 Burke Street, Cowra, Lot 11, Section 22, DP 977 420, and 10.2, the proposed low-level bridge major maintenance. Can I have a mover? These matters are considered to be confidential under Section 10A 2D1 of the Local Government Act, and the Council is satisfied that discussion of these matters in an open meeting would on balance be contrary to the public interest, as they deal with commercial information of a confidential nature that would, if disclosed, prejudice the commercial position of the person who supplied it. Councillor Kiss, thank you. Councillor Horton, thank you. Councillor Kiss.
Not needed.
Councillor Horton.
No, not required. Thank you.
Councillor Kiss, write a reply. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Passed. Thank you.